opportunity does not present itself, build a door and walk right through it. On that note, I welcome you to News Generation. My name is Faustina Safo. Coming up in this week's edition, government to include children with cerebral palsy on the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program. Plus, Ghanaians marked 5 years of the passing on of former President John Evans Atta Mills. And Genius Shapers Africa launched African Boys Leading Change Initiative. What's that? You get to find out right here on News Generation. All that and more we have lined up for you, so do stay.
Lonely Mr. also has a problem with his radio.
Mission time!
My big brother always stealing my cowbell coconut milk power cable. Check. Circuit board, check.
Hanger, cowbell, mug, check. Radio, check.
More flavors are better than one. Cowbell is fortified with protein, mineral, vitamin A, C, D, E, and K to help you complete the mission. Cowbell comes in coconut, strawberry, choco malt, and Mr. Owusu's favorite, mocha. There's something for everyone.
Mission accomplished!
Welcome back from the break. Remember, you can join our conversations online. Find us on Facebook at News Generation GH and on Twitter at NewsGenGH. Now to our first story. Statistics available indicate that 1 in every 300 children in Ghana has cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy is a disorder caused by jaundice in newborns, children lacking oxygen during birth, and also head injuries at birth, among others. But sadly, due to the lack of proper support systems, parents are being forced to abandon their wards with this condition. Here are stories of mothers and caregivers who daily battle to keep their children alive in a land where cerebral palsy is considered a curse.
This is a story that needs desperate attention. A 69-year-old man who is a grandfather to a 5-year-old beautiful girl with cerebral palsy. She's in a real bad state and needs help. Unfortunately, they are no longer able to afford going for physio services because the child is too heavy. It has a big toll on their finances. It's just one of the many cases that we see all over Ghana. Catherine is a mother of Olivia who has cerebral palsy. Catherine moves from Kaswa to Multicase in East Legon, which takes about 3.5 hours once every week for the services. She chooses Multicase because the services are free and she's able to get a lot of efficiency. But how long can this go on? Her daughter is getting bigger and having to carry her all the time is a problem. There are those who get desperate, who get frustrated, who get pushed by society to the point where they kill the children. The children are given concoctions which kills them slowly, so they give a concoction and 3 days later the child dies. I think there are so many cases of cerebral palsy due to lack of information. For instance, my daughter had cerebral palsy because she had jaundice. I knew absolutely next to nothing about jaundice. So this is something simple which could have been solved, but here we are battling with cerebral palsy today because of the lack of information. It is difficult. Lack of services, the lack of social support. These are high needs children. You need money to get them to the level you want. Unfortunately, when you have such a child, sometimes you are forced to abandon your career, your job, to take care of such a child. It makes it very difficult. It makes it frustrating. It makes it depressing. I mean, every negative word to describe this. But I will only add that there is hope. I met Vero at one of the community-based rehabilitation programs, and she had twins. One had cerebral palsy, one doesn't. And she told me how difficult it's been for her. Vero's light came when she was roped into the CBR program. She learned how to do physio. She's got a lot of information through the community-based rehabilitation program, and that has kind of changed her and given her hope.
We need to support the physiotherapy because without most of the children, their body is stiffened. And what I know is that most mothers, instead of going for physiotherapy, they use traditional medicine, and it worsens the cases of the mothers. So with the physiotherapy, it relaxes the muscles and it helps the body to move. So the physiotherapy is the first basic thing for most cerebral palsy children.
What physios do is to be able to help those children so that they can attain their maximum potential, so that they can be able to sit, they can use their hands to play, they can be able to stand, eventually some will be able to walk. So the physio is like a trainee. Some children, yes, it's possible that their maximum potential can just be to sit. But in that sitting position, the child is functional, can do something. It's better than lying down. You know, every day of your life you lie down, you are just a liability.
That story was kind courtesy of the SWEB Foundation. Meanwhile, the Deputy Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Gifty Chuma Mpofu, has revealed government's plan to include cerebral palsy caregivers on the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program. She was speaking at the opening of a two-day national conference on cerebral palsy organized by the SWEB Foundation here in Accra. Teamed Inclusion Matters, Counting Children with Cerebral Palsy. The conference aimed at involving a wider group of stakeholders to examine the needs of children with cerebral palsy and to learn about the current state of services offered in the country so as to address those needs in the areas of health, physiotherapy, education and social participation. Speaking in her capacity as the guest speaker, Deputy Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Gifty Chuma Mpofu, called for a combined effort between parents, NGOs and the government so as to improve the living conditions of children with cerebral palsy as well as other children with special needs.
In our parts of the world where assistive technologies are not widespread, being a child with any form of disability can be a lifelong experience of exclusion, deprivation, and pain, unfortunately. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let us remind ourselves that cerebral palsy as a health condition occurs at birth, and everybody could be a victim. This means any of us here could have been born with it. Thus, beyond being direct duty bearer of children, the need to assist children with cerebral palsy should appeal to us all.
She said the lack of collated data of children with the condition has made it difficult for the ministry to form policies to support cerebral palsy caregivers, but all that is about to change.
Poverty plays a significant role in bringing about cerebral palsy and keeping children with the condition in perpetual deprivation and exclusion. As a ministry, we are confronting household poverty frontally through the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program, among others. The numbers are high. Over 213 households are benefiting from the LEAP program.
Faustina Safo for News Generation. Well, a faculty member and a mentor of Genius Shapers Africa, Kojo Baidu, has reiterated the need for parents to serve as watchdogs on the use of technology by their wards. Kojo Baidu believes technology has the tendency of impacting negatively on young people if not supervised. Let's find out more.
Kojo Baidu made the call at the launch of African Boys Leading Change, an initiative by Junior Shapers Africa held in Accra.
Technology is the greatest threat they face now, in the sense that it is more attractive to them than these talk about values. You know, if you look at the contemporary settings we have now, schools are losing our traditional values. The school is bound by the syllabus, the teacher is bound by timetable, the school has its own structures. Now parents are having to deal with the huge cost of living, so they are also chasing after commerce and money and trying to make ends meet and keep their family. These children are left with technology, social media. If it's computers, technology. If it's what they say they should research, they have to fall on this same technology. Phones, all these gadgets at home that they use. What we are not aware of, which we wish to avert minds to, is that the effect on them, key and chief being television, the effect on the children far outweighs the leisure or pleasure it gives them if they are not guarded on how to use them. Yeah.
Founder of the group, Airtel Ajololo Mafo, said the objective of this year's project is to challenge boys to develop innovative ideas and projects with agriculture in mind. She also said the initiative is to bring up responsible boys for a better Ghana.
This project is an initiative of Junior Shapers Africa, and the project is African Boys Leading Change. We are using this project to develop boys in agropreneurship. Agropreneurship is building business through agriculture. So over the years, since 2015, Junior Shapers Africa has been grooming boys. We've been running clinics for boys. We teach them etiquette, we teach them about behavior, we teach them how to be responsible men. But we've reviewed the strategy of our program, and we feel that it's about time to tie in our program with a project. We looked around, we scanned around, whatever is happening during the vacation, it's all about academics, classes, and most of them are skewed towards girls. I've seen competitions that you see that it's more of girls that will be really showing interest in. So we thought of agriculture. Africa needs to take agriculture seriously to move to the next level.
Assistant Headmaster, Primary Division of the Tema Parents Association School, Silvanos Ajitesowa, said the project is a step in the right direction.
A couple of days back, I had a brief word with Ethel, leading this JSA group, and as it has come that we're trying to look at how we can raise this parity between boys and girls learning in school. At a point, either we were not measuring quite well. We realized that in my school, the chance, you realize that we have more girls than boys in school, and the girls are doing quite better than boys in the classroom. So when I chanced on this, quickly asked her to come over to see how we can work it out in order not in an attempt to help girls leave boys behind.
Some participants of the launch have been sharing their experience.
I think it's a good organization because it mentors boys for the future, and nowadays girls have been getting more attention than boys.
I think it's a very educative program, and I encourage all young people to participate in this event.
I think that is good because nowadays people have been giving a lot of attention to girl education, and now they focus less on boys. So I think that it is good that the program are here to be able to give the attention boys need to them.
To train boys' lives to help them be responsible adults in future.
Junior Shapers Africa is a non-profit social enterprise championing male-child personnel development in Ghana and Africa. The organization have been grooming and mentoring boys in Accra and some selected regions through the flagship program known as Junior Boys Mentoring Clinic since 2015. Dorcas Beidou's report for News Generation.
There's more news in local news round.
Deputy Attorney General Godfrey Dame has begun an inquiry into how Mr. Woyoma spends the money and to uncover potential sources of income for the businessman in order to recover more than 50 million cedis due the state. The much-anticipated oral examination of businessman Alfred Agbeshi Woyoma on how he may have spent the 51.2 million cedis wrongly paid him as judgment's death got underway at the Supreme Court on Monday. The well-advertised legal showdown lasted a little over 2 hours, with the need for a break to enable Mr. Woyoma to take his medication. The oral examination is to help the Attorney General identify the businessman's property that could be attached to help recover the money to the state. 2 women are currently receiving treatment at a hospital in Kaswa in the central region after they collapsed from shock when a fire destroyed their wares at the Kaswa Old Market. The 2 were among scores of traders who looked on helplessly as over 200 containers and market stalls went up in flames. The fire started at dawn from one of the stalls in the overcrowded market. For hours, firefighters struggled to bring the blaze under control. Over 200 containers and stalls were razed completely. Management of the National Service Scheme has apologized to personnel who were manhandled at an exercise on Monday. Videos of the personnel being whipped with billy clubs by security officers while struggling to have their documents validated have been making the rounds on social media. In a press release signed by Acting Executive Director of NSS Yusuf Mustafa, management expressed regrets over the unfortunate incident. The Acting Executive Director also indicated measures have been put in place to ease congestion at the various registration centers.
We're taking this quick break, and when News Generation comes back, we have more in store for you, so do stay.
Lonely Mr. also has a problem with his radio. Mission time!
My big brother always stealing my cowbell coconut milk power cable. Check.
Second word, check. Hanger, cowbell, mug, check. Radio, check.
More flavors are better than one. Cowbell is fortified with protein, mineral, vitamin A, C, D, E, and K to help you complete the mission. Cowbell comes in coconut, strawberry, choco malt, and Mr. Owusu's favorite, mocha. There's something for everyone.
Mission accomplished!
Welcome back from the break. I love our online family, so remember you can find me on Facebook at News Generation GH and on Twitter at NewsGenGH, and I will personally respond to your questions. Moving on Monday 24th of July, Ghanaians marked 5 years of the passing away of the former President John Evans Atta Mills. We asked you on WhatsApp, what are some of those fond memories you have of him, and you have been sharing your views with us.
I remember Atta Mills as a very peaceful person and inspired Ghanaians to be better than the picture painted by foreigners. What they thought of us inspired us to be better.
I quite remember some time ago when he was ill and he came to Ghana, they asked him to jump at the airport to show that he was healthy, and he gladly did it. And another thing too I also remember is that he empowered the playing of hockey in Ghana during his time.
Atta Mills was an inspiration to all Ghanaians as the president of Ghana. He was also known as Asundue, the king of peace. And we all remember and we cherish him as someone who did well to improve the resources of Ghana. Thank you.
Atta Mills, as the president of Ghana, was an inspiration to others. And as he was also known as the Asundue, he was known for maintaining peace in our country. And we will remember and cherish him for that.
Well, I quite remember that he was always talking about peace. He was speaking Fante, saying Asundue, and then I remember he developed the hockey park. Yes.
In loving memory of Atta Mills, I remember that he served as an inspiration to all Ghanaians, and he taught us to do better things even in times of trouble, so that this place become a better nation.
Moving on, school authorities and management should adopt ways to help students develop their talents to professions. That's according to the Executive Director of Talented Royals International School, Edward Afro. He was speaking on the sidelines of the school's speech and prize-giving day at Wejam. Mr. Edward feels that appealing to government to set additional technical and vocational institutions to help students who may not have the opportunity to further their education to acquire entrepreneurial skills is the way forward.
It was a time to reward students who had performed excellently in the academic year, as well as build a bond between parents and teachers as the school held its first speech and prize-giving day. Executive Director of the school, Mr. Edward Afro, advised schools to find alternative ways of helping children with poor academic performance.
We can't all be academically strong. There are a lot of people who have certificates today but staying home without a job. So the vision of the school was that we will have our excellent academic, but we need to monitor every child here who has God-gifted talent. We monitor them and then push them with it. So when you have academic and then you have talent in addition, meaning that you will use one stone to kill two birds. I will advise every Ghanaian, if they have school, to try to introduce talent activity. Because most of the developed countries, that is what they are using
He
to make
said,
money
and if
now.
government invests in the talents of students, the issue of joblessness will be addressed.
Before JHS was established some years back, I can 100% remember that they had a whole lot. You go to their workshops, they have their carpentry materials, masonry and all that. But it's all over. You see, somebody can complete JHS, but will have something doing without necessarily going. Technically, we have to have technical institutions more in the system.
Talented Kids Winners is an 8-digit switch which happens to be a pupil at the school, then thrilled patrons with a cultural display. Faustina Safo for News Generation.
There's more news in International News Round.
President Donald Trump has launched yet another attack on U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions, labeling him weak. His latest Twitter onslaught comes amid reports the president is consulting advisors about possibly firing the country's top prosecutor. On Monday, he called Mr. Sessions beleaguered in another tweet. Mr. Trump has made clear he is unhappy with Mr. Sessions for recursing him from an FBI inquiry into alleged Russian meddling in the 2016 elections. Moments earlier, he questioned in another post why Mr. Sessions was not looking into a report earlier this year that officials in Ukraine had sought to influence last year's U.S. presidential elections in favor of Mr. Trump's Democratic rival. The parents of terminally ill baby Charlie Gard have returned to court to seek permission to take their son home to die. Lawyers for Chris Gard and Connie Yates told the High Court they wanted a few days of tranquility outside the hospital before Charlie passes away. They accused Great Ormond Street Hospital of putting obstacles in the way of Charlie's return home. But the hospital says Charlie's parents had refused an offer of mediation. Grant Armstrong, representing Charlie's parents, told Mr. Justice Francis that his client's last wish is that Charlie dies at home. Israel has removed metal detectors from outside a holy site in East Jerusalem after uproar from Palestinians over their recent introduction. It said it plans to replace them with less obtrusive surveillance. There were deadly clashes after the metal detectors were set up, which Palestinians saw as an Israeli attempt to assert control over the site. Israel said they were necessary to prevent weapons being smuggled in. It followed the killing on 14 July of 2 Israeli policemen by Israeli Arab gunmen who police say had hidden their weapons on the top hillside known to the Jews as the Temple Mount and Muslims as the Haram al-Sharif. The Israeli Prime Minister's office said the state security bodies had recommended replacing the metal detectors with advanced technologies and other means.
Now to the part I love, trending. A 9-year-old girl stole the show at this year's America's Got Talent edition. Now this little girl had a powerful voice that touched hearts and also inspired young people that it's never too late or too early to start a career in singing. Let's take a look.
Angelica, how are you? I'm good. Are you a little bit less nervous than last time or more nervous? Because now we're like only one step away from the live shows.
A little more nervous actually, but so excited.
What are you singing for us today?
I'm going to be singing Girl on Fire by Alicia Keys.
Oh.
A crowd favorite.
Well, Angelica, I wish you good luck today.
Thank you.
How funny too.
She's just a girl and she's on fire. Hotter than a fantasy, lonely like a highway. She's living in a world and it's on fire. Filled with catastrophe, but she knows she can fly away. Whoa, she got both feet on the ground and she's burning it down. She got her head in the clouds, but she's not backing down. This girl is on fire. This girl is on fire. She's walking on fire. This girl is on fire. Everybody said that she goes by, 'cause they can see the pain that's in her eyes. Watch her as she's lighting up the night. Nobody knows that she's a lonely girl, and it's a lonely world. But she gon' let it burn, baby, burn, baby. This girl is on fire. This girl is on fire. She's walking on fire. This girl is on fire. This girl is on fire. Thank you.
Chris, what did you think?
I mean, I'm so blown away because you walk out and there's this like, you know, you've got these like sneakers on and you look like this adorable little child, and then you open your mouth and it's like, how do those pipes fit in that tiny body? You are unbelievable.
Thank you.
I just feel like Angelica, you are the chosen
Oh, she's crying now, amore.
You're amazing. You're so good.
Well, obviously, if I had a very good voice, I wouldn't be here right now. So, all thanks to those people singing. I'll just do my journalism and move forward with it. Remember, you can join our conversations online on Facebook at News Generation GH and on Twitter at NewsGenGH. Now, this week has been quite exciting for myself and emotional as well, because we have some interns who have been with us on News Generation. They've been doing so well and they'll be leaving this week. But we'll tell you who they are on our next edition, so stay glued to us. My name is Faustina Safa. Myself and my production crew do have a wonderful day as you enjoy the rest of our programs.
News Generation, supported by Cowbell with Vitarid.